It's time to put out the Christmas trees and pour yourself a cup of hot chocolate, because today we are taking some expensive Christmas decor and seeing if we can make it for less in this episode of I Can DIY That. And thanks to Anna Luisa for partnering with me on today's video. Hi everyone, I'm Allie and welcome to my craft room, or in this case, my Christmas workshop, because we are going to be taking on some really fun Christmas DIY home decor in this video. We're gonna make this special because I am bringing back an old series that has been a really long time since I've done it here on my channel, and it's called I Can DIY That. In this series, I take something that is from a high-end home decor store and try to see if I can DIY it for a fraction of the price. So the first one that we are going to take on today is from Pottery Barn. So I'm going to be making this lit faux eucalyptus and berry wreath that retails at Pottery Barn for full price at $149. That is so expensive for a wreath. However, I do know that buying wreath supplies does get a little pricey, so I can understand it. But I think that because Christmas holiday florals are on sale pretty much everywhere by this point, we can make this for a whole lot less. Obviously, the base of the project, you're going to want to start with a wreath form. I'm going with one of the grapevine wreath forms. This is an 18-inch wreath form. This was like an appropriate size for me and what I'd prefer to my decor, though the Pottery Barn one we're recreating is a 28-inch wreath. I don't need anything that big, but you can get these in bigger sizes, and honestly, they're pretty cheap. This was about $5, maybe even less because it might have been on sale. Now taking a look at our reference photo for the first bit of greenery that we're going to be adding, it looks like that little scraggly bit of pine is kind of what makes up the main surface, or what we want to get down first on this wreath form. Let's try again. But I think I found something that looks pretty similar to it, so let me grab that. It is this right here, which I don't think they call it anything. It's just called bush. I got it at Joann's. So we're gonna use this and just surround the entire wreath until it's pretty much covered with these little pieces. So the next step, I bought these little, I guess, eucalyptus pieces. They're like faux eucalyptus, and we're gonna just scatter these around in the same way. But this is kind of like the defining moment of the piece, because I think this little piece of greenery like this is what really stood out and drew me to this wreath. And I think these florals that I found at Michael's were a close match. Next up, I was adding little sprigs of this boxwood bunch to the wreath. I really like how the little white kind of flowering ends really add some variety and break up the wreath. I know this isn't really staying true to the Pottery Barn wreath. Theirs was more of like a bright spring green type color, but I think the white is just such a nice touch and still adds in that textural element very similar to our inspiration piece. And then, of course, to really make this come together, you have to add the red berries. Picked up this big bunch at Joann's and just picked out the tiniest little bunches that I could find on this floral stem and scattered them throughout the wreath wherever I felt like it needed that little pop of color to tie it all together. And then the final step, you have to, of course, add the fairy lights. This is a string of 30 lights. I found them at Target. That was the cheapest place I was able to find them, and they are on a copper wire. And I would say if you're going to make this project, opt for either a copper wire or a green wire, just so that it blends really well into the wreath. All right, so the wreath is made, but let's do like another little mini project in this video. And while I was researching that wreath, I came across this wreath hanger that they were displaying with the wreath that we're making. And these bells are everywhere. I came up with, I think, a genius way to duplicate the look of these antique bells using some disposable wine glasses from Dollar Tree. So these look like wine glasses like this, but I assembled them. But if you remove the bases and flip them over, they make the perfect bell shape. So what we're gonna do is take these bells and we're gonna spray paint them black before we go back in and bring in that antique sort of aged look. But I was also wondering, or kind of thinking about, and since I think there's plenty of them right here, maybe doubling up on some of them to create this kind of double lip situation. I think it looks almost a little closer to our inspiration photo. The secret to transforming these from upside down cups into bells is, of course, rub and buff. I love this stuff ever since I learned about it. It has been a key DIY supply for me, and I'm using the two different shades. I'm using antique gold and gold leaf. I just dabbed and rubbed that on with a foam brush to kind of give that antique look, and even on every bell, I kind of went in with a different technique and making sure that just a little bit of that black spray paint still shines through to add that aged brass look. Keeping in the spirit of making this pretty much a Dollar Tree DIY, to make the ringer and the bells, I thought, why not just use the tumbling tower blocks? But any tiny little piece of scrap wood or dowel or something like that would work perfectly fine. And then I just glued on some twine, put some glue down on the inside of the bell, and then attached that twine piece right in the middle on the inside, and it created the perfect ringer for each of these bells. They're so cute! Look at them! Okay, now to figure out how we're going to attach them to the wreath hanger. To finish the whole thing off, since it's not going to have that round ring on top like in the inspiration photo, because we're dealing with these stems here, I was a little afraid to cut them off because I thought, because this plastic is pretty fragile, that if I use like a hacksaw on it, it may end up splitting the plastic. So instead, I opted for adding twine like so, and then just wrapping it all the way up the stem. And I think this is cute. It kind of creates just like a faux handle look. And honestly, I like it a lot more than I thought I would, especially once they're all paired in a little bunch. And as a last step, I just took a big glob of hot glue and applied it on to a Dollar Tree wreath hook. You're never going to see where these were attached because a wreath is going to cover them up. And then it also allows you to remove the bells and then be able to reuse this wreath hook from season to season. And here is the final reveal with both of the DIYs together. How do you think I did? I honestly think these are such a close match. There's obviously some differences here and there, but looking at them, I think these could pass as high-end, and I was able to customize it to a size that really works for me. So for the wreath, here's everything that I purchased after all of the sales and coupons, because you definitely need those when buying florals. It came to a total of $29.54. Now, as a reminder, the original wreath was $149. So that is a nearly $120 savings to make this wreath instead of buying it. And then for the bell hanger, I spent a total of $28.96 to make it myself. So that means I had a savings of $50, which I think goes to say that both of these mean I can DIY that. In the spirit of making DIY decor that looks like high-end pieces, I want to talk about Ana Luisa and their jewelry, because Ana Luisa jewelry is beautiful, high-end looking jewelry without that luxury price markup. And because it is Christmas time and we are in the season of giving, they make fantastic gifts. But before I show you the pieces that I picked out that I'm planning on gifting this year, I think that my outfit, all I'm wearing is a basic sweater right now. I think we need to elevate it and just show how much Ana Luisa jewelry can take your holiday look from this to this. So I have on some of my favorite Ana Luisa jewelry pieces to make this holiday look. Everything from their rings to earrings to layering the necklace pieces. Totally takes just a plain looking sweater or shirt and transforms it just in time for the holiday season. Let me tell you about Ana Luisa and show you the pieces that I picked out for gifting. I have them right under here. Here is my box that I always get so excited to get in the mail. So the first two pieces I picked are these, which make a fantastic set. It is the Lenny necklace and sage silver earrings. These are gonna be so cute for a little gift set to give. I am so excited about these. And then I have one more pair of earrings that I picked out, and I actually have this pair in silver. My mom saw them, she loved them in silver, and she wanted a pair in gold. So I'm giving her these for one of her Christmas gifts this year. So Mom, I'm sorry, I might have just spoiled that one for you because I know you watch all of my videos. No, she picked them out, so she knows they're coming. Ana Luisa jewelry really makes a meaningful gift for anyone on your list who loves to accessorize or elevate their everyday style. They have something for everyone, from their beautiful gold pieces to a silver collection to a wide range of different styles. And it comes with fast free shipping, so if you are waiting to the last minute for some of that gift shopping, then Ana Luisa has you covered, along with free returns. And Ana Luisa really backs the quality of their pieces with a 2-year warranty. And I have some of the pieces that I've had for 2 years, and they are holding up good as new. Can't even tell that I wear them almost every single day. So if you want to learn more about Ana Luisa and shop for that perfect gift, just check out the link in my description box. All right, let me tell you a little bit more now about our next DIY project. Now, the next store that we are going to see if we can DIY some home decor for less is Anthropologie. Anthropologie always has the cutest stuff for Christmas, but I wanted to do something that maybe felt more winter or more universal, not really Christmas specific. And so when I found this really cute set of snowflake taper candle holders, I knew that this was going to be the project I wanted to try. So these are the Blanche snowflake candle holders. The small one is $26 full price, and the taller one is $32. So the supplies that we're going to need, very, very simple. We're going to build a base to form the clay around. And we're going to be using various different wood products to do that. Now, hold up, before we get into it, we're using polymer clay, which means you have to bake it in the oven. However, it's such a low temperature that any sort of wood product, you're going to be fine using this as a base, especially if it's completely covered with that clay. So what I have right now are these two, I guess they're like little wood wheels. These are going to be the base of our taper candles. The top are going to be these wooden candle cups. And then you just need some regular little dowels. These are just from Dollar Tree. You can get them wherever, really cheap, to make the stems that we're going to build this around. So we're just going to assemble this first. Just going to take a couple seconds, and then we can start the sculpting. Now, to make that perfect snowflake shape that we see on these candle holders, I just picked up a really cheap snowflake shaped cookie cutter, and this one almost had the exact same shape of that Anthropologie snowflake. So we're going to use this, and it's going to look perfect. We're just going to press it right down into the clay like so. In total, I cut out 3 snowflakes with the cookie cutter. On the first one, I used a straw to punch out a little hole in the middle. And then on the other 2, I spliced them in half with my X-Acto knife, and then went in with the straw again and kind of flattened it a little bit to create more of an oval or diamond type shape. And then I pressed that into the clay to create the little cutout pieces that you could see on that larger Anthro taper candle holder. Once those pieces were all cut out, I then put them into an oven, heated to 275 for about 10 minutes. So you previously saw me take and splice the one dowel in half for the smaller one, but I decided it's going to be a little bit easier to make it like this and then attach the top on after adding that snowflake, because it's just going to be much more structurally sound. So this is going to work a lot better. So now while those snowflakes that I just cut out are in the oven, I'm going to start building out the clay around these sculptures, so that way when those are done and they are cool, we are ready to just put the final thing together and do the final bake on this project. Now is the part where we begin adding on our snowflake pieces. For those half pieces, I attach them to the larger candle holder by using my X-Acto knife to cut a little bit of a line and then scored along it to create a nice little area for the snowflake piece to grip onto, and just press that right into the clay until it felt like it was firmly in place. I repeated that 4 times around the candle holder so that I got this kind of really cool 3-dimensional snowflake look. You'll definitely want to smooth out all of the excess clay, maybe even remove just a little bit if you need to in the areas where that clay pressed in after you applied the pieces. Then for the smaller one, I just inserted the little snowflake down the dowel because that straw hole was the perfect size for it, and glued on the candle cup on top, and then went in with more polymer clay to begin sculpting the rest of this to look like the anthro piece. Next, I baked those in the oven until they were cured at that same 75 degrees. This time I went just a little longer than 15 minutes. And once they were out of the oven, as the final 2 steps, I sanded everything down so it was nice and smooth to remove the fingerprints and imperfections, and then used the tried and true technique of combining paint and baking soda to add the texture that I could see on the Anthropologie candle holders to really bring it together and make these look like ceramic. And here is the reveal of these 2 candle holders. Are they a perfect match for the Anthropologie piece? Probably not, but I think they are pretty close, and I love that these can definitely be more than just a Christmas decoration, and that I can leave them out all through the winter time. So now let's total everything up and see how we did. For me to purchase all of the supplies needed for this project, it cost me $23.91 to make both, with lots of leftover clay for future projects, which means by DIYing it, I saved right around $34. Now for our third project that we're tackling, it's going to be a couple little mini projects, and this is because I want to create some Christmas ornaments. I've been noticing some real trends with ornaments this year that people are really gravitating toward the textural, kind of organic looking type ornaments, especially from the ones sold on the McGee & Co website. And the first one that we're going to start with is the glass and iron ornament, which is $12 on McGee & Co.'s website. But really, you're just going to need some paint and something that you keep in your cabinet. So this is going to be real fun and easy. Let's try to DIY this one. The first thing I'm doing with this ornament is painting everything with this kind of dusty blue base, or kind of like a robin's egg blue. But anyway, it's a beautiful shade that I feel like matched the base color of the McGee & Co. ornament. Next up, I'm taking a whole bunch of other acrylic paints and mixing them together. I went with a brown, a black, a olive green, and also some copper. The secret ingredient I'm using to mimic the texture on that inspiration ornament is salt, just your regular old table salt. I'm mixing that into the paint, and what this does is create a really nice gritty texture that you really can't get from anything else, aside from maybe if you mixed sand into the paint or something like that. But salt is readily available, and I had a ton of it, so this was perfect. And here is the texture that I was going with. Then I just used a bristly brush and started applying it all over the surface, very organically, not trying to cover up all of that blue that we just painted on. Before letting that brown paint layer dry, I also decided to just sprinkle on even more salt. This is just going to keep adding more layers of texture, which is exactly what we're going for with this piece. And also, it was making me kind of hungry because this totally looked like a sugar-coated donut hole when you can see it right here. Once all of that paint dried, I then went in with some of the copper paint that I used a little bit earlier and kind of dabbed and dry brushed it on with a foam brush over top to cover up all of the salt. And then I kind of just went in and started repeating these steps again. So dabbing in a little bit more of the blue paint, going in with a little bit more of the brown paint, adding even in some gold, just to build in layers upon layers to really build up. And I really think just all of the different layers is what brings in the depth and makes this look more expensive than just a piece covered in paint and table salt. The next ornament we're going to try to make is this Stella ornament, which I love the fun shape with it. I couldn't find that out of a plastic ornament, but I did get this shape, which I feel like is close enough. And I have a really easy way to try to mimic that lovely looking amber glass look that ornament has. This is going to be the easiest DIY ever. All you need is some alcohol ink. This is a dark brown shade called Ginger. It came in a pack of 3, but you're only going to need this one. Now right here in the tutorial, you see me adding the alcohol ink to the inside of the ornament. Quite honestly, I don't recommend this, but the technique is the same. I noticed when I applied it to the inside and let it all drip out, the color just really faded. So do the same thing where you just take the alcohol ink and drip it all along the outside of the ornament, tilting it until all of that alcohol ink spreads out and the entire ornament is covered. So it's really the same concept, just don't make my mistake of putting it on the inside. I ended up having to go back off camera and do an outside layer with the ink so that it would actually dry instead of just completely drip out of the ornament. This stuff is really great because it does dry really quickly when it's not on the inside of the ornament, and it can create some really cool looks. You could do this with so many colors too, not just this amber glass color. You can make a wide array, and these will make such a cool little effect on a Christmas tree. And finally, for this last ornament, I want to do something kind of crazy. And I know how popular this year the flocked ornaments have been, the ones that kind of look like they're covered in velvet. And I had seen this one tutorial, and to be honest, I didn't even watch it to the end. I saw the start of the reel, and I want to see if this works, where you recreate the look using cinnamon. So let's just see if that works as a passable dupe for this project. All right, so what you're gonna need to do to tackle this project, you're going to need some Mod Podge, you're going to need some cinnamon. It doesn't matter what the Mod Podge finish is, I am just using satin because that was the first one I grabbed. And if you don't have any Mod Podge, you can easily get a tiny bottle of it from the craft store and sometimes even find it at Dollar Tree. So I brushed that Mod Podge over the entire ornament in a pretty thick layer because I didn't want this drying up on me too fast, but I also didn't want to have to go back in and apply Mod Podge after already applying the cinnamon in some areas. So you're just gonna kind of work a little bit quickly until that ornament is all covered. And now here is the moment of truth, adding on the cinnamon. And to be honest, when I saw it right away, I was in shock. It looked so much like a velvet flocked ornament. All it is cinnamon. I would love if there was a way using household products to make more colors, but hey, this is a start, and if it could add in a little extra textural element to your Christmas tree and a lovely kind of terracotta, cinnamon type brown, of course, then hey, why not go for it? It's gonna make your house smell really good. And before I get any comments about it, I absolutely understand that this is probably a technique for those who are in the primitive craft community. I know that using cinnamon for primitive style decor and crafts is incredibly common. And if you are part of that community and you know a great way to seal this, please let me know. Because I tried using hairspray thinking that would be just light enough to mat everything down, but it didn't work. So if you have an idea of the best way to seal this, then I would love to hear it. And with that, all 3 of these ornament projects are complete. They look so cute together on the Christmas tree. So let's total everything up. So for that first ornament, I spent a total of $10.84 on all of the supplies, with the original cost of the ornament being $12, which means I saved $1.16. Ornament number 2, the amber glass one, I spent $4.56 when the original price of this ornament is $10, which means I saved more than $5 to make this one myself. And finally, our wild card, the faux flocked ornament. I spent $3.89, just considering that cinnamon is probably free because you likely already have it in your cabinet. If you were only able to buy the cinnamon colored one out of the flocked pack, it would be $7. So that means I saved $3.11 by making this one myself. And again, could make so many more. Well, that is all of the projects that we are doing today. I want to know in the comments, how do you think I did? Which dupe do you think was the most successful out of the video? And what stores do you want to see me dupe next? Drop that all in the comments because I love making these I Can DIY That videos. Don't forget to also head to the description box to check out Ana Luisa, and also so you can save money during all of their holiday deals. Thanks so much for watching this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye!